Well, anybody that knows a thing about Kevin Harvick knows that he will not ride second for long. The move will come. The question is, who, if anybody, will go with him? Harvick still dogging the tire tracks of Sterling Marlin, nose to tail off two.
Harvick may be getting anxious to see if Jeff Gordon will commit to follow him if he makes the move to the inside of the race leader. One driver stepping out of line is Dale Jarrett, back near the tail end of the top 10. He's racing side by side with Michael Waltrip.
But the problem is Jarrett has no drafting help. It's all in the top lane. Michael Waltrip has help from Mark Martin and John Andretti. Dale Jarrett hung out to dry all by himself in the inside lane.
Here's the field now coming back off turn 4 to the start-finish line. Front 9-10 cars running nose to tail. Only car out of line is Dale Jarrett. He's trying to work to get by Mark Martin for a position. That would be the 11th spot they're battling for. John Andretti in that race as well.
Dale Jarrett getting a good pull down on the inside line. Will go past Mark Martin. Now puts a wheel up on John Andretti. Slides up the banking. Puts the squeeze on Andretti. But the Cheerios Dodge holds its spot and will take the spot back.
Dodge Ford battle continues, moving on to the backstretch. John Andretti swung off to the right side of Dale Jarrett, getting help now from Jeff Burton in the outer lane. Matt Kenseth is also there.
Matt Kenseth in the outside lane sneaks up and tucks in behind the rear deck lid of Jeff Burton. Behind Kenseth, you've got Todd Bodine. Meanwhile, downstairs, Dale Jarrett finally gets some help in the form of the lap car of Robert Presley, then Ricky Rudd.
He'll be able to move up maybe a position or two in the next couple of laps as they wind down now. There are 52 remaining in the Daytona 500. Terry Labonte and Bobby Labonte have both been shuffled back in the field. Bobby Labonte was a strong player in the Daytona 500.
Whoa, trouble in turn 1.
In the front of the pack, he's in trouble. Kevin Harvick slams the outside retaining wall. He gets labeled by John Andretti. A massive pileup in turn 1 and 2. 10, 12, 15, 18 cars and more involved. One car making it through somehow was Ryan Newman. Robbie Gordon goes to the grass. A number of cars piled up, one bursting into flame down on the apron.
Caution is on the speedway. It'll become the 5th one of the afternoon for a big incident down in turns 1 and 2. Cars scattered all over the apron of the racetrack. Let's go back over to Dave Moody.
They went 3 wide, Barney, battling for the second position. Kevin Harvick got into the side of Jeff Gordon, it appeared, shot straight up the banking, head on into the outside retaining wall, and then it all broke loose. At least a dozen. I would not be surprised if 18 to 20 cars were involved.
Mark Martin appears to have a piece of that along with Kevin Harvick. As we said, I think John Andretti's car is wrinkled up down there at the apron of the racetrack also. That car that erupted in flame is over toward you. Could you tell who that was?
I believe it's John Andretti, Barney, but I'm not going to say for sure because the entire left-hand side of the car is just covered with oil, grease, and the charred remains of that flash fire. The driver is out of the car and okay. The Matt Kenseth machine also rests on the apron down here, badly damaged on all 4 corners.
Got Kenny Wallace involved in that. It looks like the Casey Atwood car is involved. Dale Earnhardt Jr., John Andretti is indeed one of the cars involved in that crash. At least 8, maybe 9 cars. Kevin Harvick climbs out of his machine. He appears to be okay. And the car that was hit by Harvick that started this whole thing, Jeff Gordon, was able to continue, but there is some damage on the side of his car. Here also Jerry Nadeau coming down the pit lane with some damage on his machine, as well as the Valvoline Pontiac of Johnny Benson. Caution is out for the 6th time at lap 149. At last count, at least 14 cars, Barney, involved in this crash on lap 140.
Yeah, again, Kenny Wallace got a piece of it. So did Kevin Harvick, Bobby Labonte, Johnny Benson, John Andretti, Mark Martin involved. So was Matt Kenseth, Casey Atwood, Bobby Hamilton's car. And we now have learned that was the car that erupted in flames over there. Jerry Nadeau's was in the wreck. So was Earnhardt Jr., Dave Blaney, Jeff Gordon, and Ken Schrader. Those are the cars we know that either some got seriously damaged, some will be able to continue, and Jeff Gordon was just on pit road and has gone back onto the racetrack.
Suddenly there's a lot of vacant space along the pit lane as a number of these cars are going right to the garage. There is a parade of the pit boxes being rolled back into the garage. Let's see if Adam Alexander is caught up with anyone yet.
Well, Kenny Schrader, one of the guys that's out of the event, he hopes to get back onto the racetrack. Heavy damage on both the right and left rear. The hood is up. Kenny, can you tell us what you saw in that wild melee over in turn 1?
Smoke. We just saw smoke. Knew it wasn't going to get any better, and had just no making it through, and knew collect up a bunch of cars. We made it quite a ways through and then run out of options.
You guys are going to try to put it together and make some laps here?
Oh yeah, that's the plan. I didn't knock off the oil pump belt or nothing.
All right, Kenny Schrader with heavy damage to the M&M's Pontiac, but he's one of the guys that's going to try to get back out on the speedway.
That was a big part of the problem, Joe. At the minute that started and all the smoke started coming up from the cars that were skittering all over the racetrack and sliding sideways, once that smoke pops up in front of you, it's like Kenny says, you don't see anything. You just drive in there and hope you come out the other side.
And Kenny was a guy who was strong all throughout the day, led early on in the running of the Daytona 500.
See if we've caught up with any more drivers over there.
Some of the teams making their way back here to work on their machines. Casey Atwood's crew is coming back. Also John Andretti. Also the Kmart Ford of Joe Nemechek is on his way back here. The DeWalt Ford of Matt Kenseth has made his way back. Most of the problem is the cars have been able to get back to the garage area, so the work has not yet begun. But it's going to be a feverish work to the finish here for most of these pit crews back in the garage area, Barney.
Now they're showing Kevin Harvick's car behind the wall. John Andretti, Matt Kenseth, Ricky Rudd, Todd Bodine, Kenny Wallace, Kenny Schrader, Jeremy Mayfield, and Bobby Hamilton, along with Casey Atwood and Joe Nemechek. Some of the cars that are have gone behind the wall or into the garage area. Some of those they will work on and try to get back onto the racetrack. We are under caution. There are 48 laps showing on the field as they continue to pull in some of those race cars that got torn up over in turn number 2. Let's go back to the garage.
Bobby Hamilton is back in the garage area. Bobby, a wild ride. You're one of the cars reported that caught on fire. Can you tell us what happened?
I don't know. It's like I tried to tell NASCAR. We had about 4 guys raising hell about the rules last year. You can't let off the gas. Last year we could all let off the gas when we wanted to and catch back up, but now it's just a bunch of ill-driving race cars out there. So everybody's scared to death to let off because they'll lose the draft. So I think about 4 of the guys that raised so much hell are running in the top 5 now, so I guess it's benefiting them and nobody else.
Bobby Hamilton disappointed not only about the situation with his car, but disappointed with the situation on the racetrack, the 55 Square D machine behind the wall.
And Joe, as we said, when you come to Daytona, you've worked all winter long, put in about 6 weeks of work on your Daytona car. It's the biggest event of the year. You hope to have a good run down here, and you come in and get caught up in something like this, and you end up in the garage. It's very easy to get totally frustrated like Bobby is right now.
Yeah, I imagine Bobby Labonte is feeling some of the same feelings as he takes his car behind the wall, getting his 2002 season started off like he did his 2001 season.
Let's go back downstairs to Winston Kelly.
Kevin, Harvick, could you tell what happened?
Well, I mean, I tried to hold my ground a little bit, and Gordon wanted in the same spot that I did. You know, I tried to block, and he came up, and all hell broke loose.
You had a pretty good car. You able to come back from the early incident? It seemed like the car was still okay.
Yeah, I mean, the car was awesome. I mean, these guys put together a heck of a race car, and we had a chance to win the Daytona 500. But, you know, that's the one downfall of this restrictor plate package is, you know, you have to block, because if you get hung out, you have to go to the back and start over again. So I came down and you know, we got together and I wrecked.
Tough luck for Kevin Harvick.